Hi, it's Bob1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Legacy version on console. Now, the power play for our version, the Legacy version, is now split from the live version. Now, this means obviously there's a massive dip in the number of players doing power play. Most of the major power play factions are concentrating solely on the live version. Now, originally I was optimistic this would cause a sort of gold rush with people like pushing the Legacy version because there's less competition against you. However, most of the groups are focusing on live, they're not caring about the Legacy version at all. Now, the Archon Delane power play, I've spoken with Kumo crew are concentrating on the live version, and I'm tempted to take over the console version of Archon Delane. Maybe do some power play, maybe push things. It gives us something to do. I did have fun doing the expansion, doing some PvE combat, just chilling out and chatting while just murdering the NPCs required. We worked out it was like 580 ships we had to kill between us to get to 100%. If no one pushed against us, would win the expansion. So we did the bare minimum as a test to see if anyone would push against us and to see if we could, interact with that. But when it comes to fortifying all of Archon Delane systems and stuff like that, it's going to be tough. I'm going to have to try and recruit players who want to do Archon Delane power play. So let me know in the comments down below if you'll be interested in taking part in Archon Delane power play, or post in the comments down below if you're interested in continuing doing power play on the Legacy version of the game and who you would do power play for. Because genuinely, if we can get enough people interested, power play can be a driving factor in what we get up to week in, week out on Elite Dangerous on the Legacy version. We haven't got CGs, but we still have expansions, we still have, stuff going on in power play that could give us stuff to do. Now, obviously, I'm fully aware that without the support of Inara, doing power play is actually way trickier, and also power play requires large numbers of players. I mean, I'm talking large numbers of players. I mean, unless you get 10 complete insane BGS tanks, you're going to have a lot of work to do. Just like fortifying one system is a lot of space trucking, a lot of merit grind. The whole power play system is an awful lot of grind. Now, I personally enjoy some of the elements of power play, but find some of the others frustrating. But I see it as an opportunity possibly to have something for players on this version of the game to have something to do. It could be something that motivates people to play. It could be fun engaging in a game of Risk, especially with the fact there's so few people on that version that are doing it. Means that more might happen. Because you're not going to be able to fortify all the systems, and if you can't fortify all the systems, that's going to mean the system's in turmoil. If you can't, have enough people doing stuff, then that's going to cause issues for some powers, and other powers are going to be fine. Archon Delane has a reasonably high amount of CC for his systems. It's a very small power, so technically he's one of the easier to manage. Originally I was honestly going to help the feds, but the FedEx have said they're only doing the live version, and I don't think the feds that are left on Xbox are really doing a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if they come back to the game, if they change their mind on that, if they do pursue it. But as it stands, I was going to help the feds versus the imps, because Archon kind of doesn't really have much going on. Because of where Archon's situated within the bubble and the limited space that he has, it's kind of, even though I am an Archon Delane player, I spend most of my time actually helping the feds out with their goals rather than worry about it. I do a bit of fortification for Archon, and then most of my undermining was actually on fed targets, because ultimately Archon is, just wall up, fortify everything you can, and just sit and accumulate the balance, because the background sim, the BGS side of it, was always a bit messed up for Archon. It's very hard to spread anarchy, which he needs to have good triggers and a low CC and good revenue. The system states that he requires that system governments that he requires around his control systems just make it slightly awkward in terms of BGS stuff to successfully navigate Archon Delane as a power in power play. I mean, Hudson's tricky as well, to be honest, but Hudson was always the one that was most threat to the imps, so that was one I was always happy to help out with, just because it meant that we might run into IED doing power play, and some of the best fights I've had in the years I've been on Xbox have been at Fed and Imperial expansions. But you know, times have changed, and it's going to be interesting to see if the current crop of players will accommodate it and move to fill that void, or whether they just let it die and not bother with it. But who knows. Anyway, that's all. Thank you very much for watching.